What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Sinners, the new film from Ryan Coogler starring Michael B. Jordan. Coogler back. This is his first film since Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and really Coogler's first completely original film. Of course, his breakout feature, Fruitvale Station, was based on true events, and then, of course, Creed, Black Panther became really one of the signature commercial filmmakers that still brings a lot of ideas and intelligence to big, broad, wide appealing fare. And now here we are with Sinners once again featuring Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. has been in every Coogler movie to this point. Man, this is just such an exciting film because this film freaking rules across the board and is really exactly what we always say we want and need in terms of filmmaking. Ryan Coogler's Sinners is incredible and the best film of the year without question. It's exactly what we always ask for because it's so crammed full of ideas and thoughts and intelligence, yet also so incredibly crowd pleasing. It's a period film about the Black experience during that time, revolving a lot of sharecroppers. It's very concerned about the musical culture of the Delta at that time, and it approaches music in a way I was not expecting with a lot of depth. And it's also a really well done vampire movie. Michael B. Jordan is great in a dual role, playing the Smokestack twins, giving both characters just enough of a difference to really feel like two distinct people. Jack O'Connell also leaps off the screen as the villain vampire Remnick, probably the best he's ever been. And yeah, this is really what we always say about Coogler's strengths, because it's a movie that has so much going on and is also so incredibly watchable and entertaining at the same time. I also love the way it gets into being a vampire movie because the first 40 minutes or so of this movie is all prelude, all set up as the Smokestack twins have returned to the Delta, returned to Mississippi in 1932 after leaving town, fighting in World War One, and then making a name for themselves up in Chicago, assumingly through some extra legal means, where we think bootlegging and stuff. And they've come back to town and have decided to start a juke joint after buying a empty farmhouse, like barn type structure from a wealthy white man. And of course, this area that they're returning to, it's primarily lots of Black folks living on sharecropping plantations. Of course, slavery is decades old, gone at this point, but this is still very much Jim Crow, Deep South, still very impoverished, not a wealthy area, and of course not a economic system set up to let these people succeed. That first 40 minutes in Sinners, as the two twins split up and get to doing their checklist, getting stuff ready for this grand opening they're planning, where they're gonna have live music, serve food, serve booze, inviting all the folks that they know back home to come and have a good time. And I think the movie communicates a lot, and the script is excellent. Of course, Coogler also wrote the movie. It tells you just the lie doesn't hold your hand. There's nothing really expository about the way you get a lot of story backfilled in as they go. You learn about Stack's relationship with Haley Steinfeld's character Mary, who is now herself married. We come to meet Smoke's ex-lover Annie, who they lost a child together. Annie played by Wunmi Masaku. And of course, we also meet from the very beginning. He's actually kind of our lead character, POV character in a certain sense. That would be a preacher boy, Sammy, played by Miles Catton. And Miles Catton, this is Miles' first film role, his debut, and I thought he was tremendous. Really leaps off the screen, and he plays like a blues singer, like a guitar singer, like gifted person, musically. And I mean, man, like the strength, the depth to his singing voice as a blues performer, really impressive. And that really brings itself into the movie. There's this really standout sequence in the film that everyone's talking about it. It's kind of like when you see it type thing, where the movie gets, I think, really existential with the meaning of music and what it does with whole community and stuff. And this really dabbles with time and space a little bit that the rest of the movie doesn't really do too much. And it's a really standout, grabs you type scene. Tremendous stuff. And I love the world building so to speak. This movie was filmed in Louisiana, close to where it's taking place, and just like that town when they're like shopping and stuff, it comes across as authentic. And we've always talked about Coogler as an authentic voice, and even Michael B. Jordan, someone who, as a performer, I think is a really dedicated person. From everything we see from him, both as a upstart director and also a physical performer, as we've seen in Creed and things like that. And of course, Michael B. I think most people would settle in that Michael B. very good actor, great movie star. But sometimes maybe his acting abilities, we touch the ceiling depending on the role. But I mean, I think he's great as the Smokestack Twins. I think he does such a good job. I mean, he's such presence and charisma, obviously, that just oozes out of him. And I thought he did a great job with both characters who are, I think, quite different. Different. Stack has a lot of quick trigger ness to him. He's a bit more of a risk taker and things like that. And Smoke is a bit more reserved and damaged, you could say. And again, this is all backfilled and told to us in intelligent ways as we go. Delroy Lindo is here as a obviously older person in the community who plays a harmonica primarily for money, but also has a drinking problem. And Delroy, I mean, what more can you say about him? Such a established legend at this point, and he's great in the movie. He's awesome. But like, man, like I think that all that setup, right? It's like on one hand, like you have there's a underlying tension. Even the movie isn't really scary. You're waiting for something bad to happen, right? Two guys coming back to Jim Crow South, two black guys with a lot of money, buying something from a wealthy white man who calls them boy, like 20 seconds into the movie, right? You're expecting bad stuff to happen just because that's what happened back then, and then they did talk about lynching and Jim Crow right away. They don't shy away from any of that kind of stuff. It's a Coogler movie after all. But then, like, we switch it up and we encounter Remnick, Jack O'Connell's character, and he's fleeing these Choctaw Native Americans. And we quickly learn that he is, in fact, a vampire of unknown Asian origin. And he's desiring to spread his flock. And he does that quite quickly. And he shows up eventually at the juke joint. And then there's so much, great stuff in the juke joint scenes, right? And like once like they show up, I mean, like the movie like turns in like such an awesome way, because I think what's so cool about it is like it doesn't like really hide much from you in terms of like what's happening with the vampire stuff. It's not like a jump scare like we're trying to scare the shit out of you type movie. I didn't find that scary as someone who's not usually a horror person at all. I don't really view this as like a horror movie like that. I think maybe because it's like there's so much to think about as you're watching it that like I wasn't really too worried about being scared by the vampires or anything like that. But like once like people start getting picked off, and then the rest of the characters who are still with the living realize what's going on, like there's like the Mexican standoff, and you understand that they can't come into the house until they're invited. I think the movie just explodes. It's just like a complete firecracker, like pace wise at that point. And there's such an awesome like juxtaposition of the early music scene that's like so transcendent, because you see the opposite of it with all the vampires kind of gathering outside as Remnick does like an Irish like folk song, and they're like dancing in circles and stuff, and it's like the other side of things. And of course, depending, as the movie progresses and certain characters we've come to know become vampires, really fun performances from them, as it's completely different. And man, I mean, I think the movie is like just honestly just such a knockout. I mean, I really had no complaints about it. I just thought it moved so well, but like it had like so much to it, and has so much satisfying payoff as you watch it as well. With their characters sacrificing themselves, just fun moments. I mean, there's a decent amount of laughs as well for a movie that is handling a bit of heavy subject matter for the most part. I mean, I think the movie is kind of incredible. In terms of how this movie, came to be. I mean, Warner Brothers reportedly like outbid everyone to get this movie. Right, this was a package, from Coogler. Obviously with Michael B. attached from the beginning, and Coogler got a pretty good, deal with this. He has first dollar gross on the box office returns. He also has the copyright returning to him after 25 years, quite uncommon. And reportedly the movie went a little over the budget, went from 90 to like 105 million or so. Again, reportedly Coogler might have given back some of his fee as a result of that. But either way, I mean, again, the copyright back eventually. Pretty legendary. Um, and yeah, it sounds like the movie's going to do pretty well because the critical reviews are off the charts. The audience exits are very strong. Word of mouth is going to help this movie. Even if it doesn't take down Minecraft anytime soon, it's going to be a massive film, I hope. Be curious about the international box office, which maybe won't be as quite as strong as it is here in the States, but I have a feeling this movie's going to end up going down as a success, and that's awesome because I think this is exactly the type of thing that you want to work because this is a movie that has so much to it, so multifaceted, and also so crowd pleasing, entertaining from the time. And of course, the craft is great, the acting, the screenplay, the production values, like it's all there, you know. And this is what we asked for. This is what we want. It's awesome. So shout out Sinners, banger movie, no question. Let me know what was your favorite moment of the film, what's like most about it, and for more movie reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.